Well, after probably the most production hell I've ever had on a single video, here it is. Hi everyone, it's me Gaming 2, and welcome to part 1 of my Nickelodeon Movies retrospective. In this video series, basically, we're going to be going through every single Nickelodeon movie that came out throughout 1996 all the way to 2025. We're going to go through some that are based on books, some that are based on cartoon shows, a few that are their own unique movies and stuff like that. And today in part 1, we're going to be covering the first 11 movies, Harriet the Spy, through the Spongebob Squarepants movie. And I'm probably as excited as you are, so without further ado, let's get into it. Rest in peace to the main actress of this movie, Michelle Trachtenberg. It's really tragic to see that she was only 39 years old, but the very first Nickelodeon movie released would be Harriet the Spy. I've only ever seen this movie once, probably about 10 years ago or so. I got it for like $5 at Walmart, I believe. And overall, the basic story is about this 6th grade girl going and wanting to be a spy and stuff like that. And she has her own little notebook and like jots down spy stuff and stuff like that. But then she finds another notebook with like kind of rumors in it. Listen, I haven't seen this movie in like 10 years, but the movie's okay. You know, the protagonist is pretty likable. The only other character I really remember from this film is Rosie O'Donnell's character, which honestly, not exactly the most tolerable, but anyways, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and if you recall on my posts, there were going to be some of these movies that I wasn't going to have a lot to say about, and Harriet the Spy is one of them. It's just a decent kids movie that I'm going to give a 6 out of 10 to. Now the next movie I have a little more to say about, and that would be... Hey, welcome to Good Burger! And that's exactly what I think of Nickelodeon Movies' second movie, Good Burger. This movie stars Keenan and Kel as Dexter and Ed. They're basically two guys working at a burger restaurant. And the movie's about this rival restaurant opening up across the street from them. And basically, the movie's about them trying to keep their restaurant in business. This movie reminds me a lot of SpongeBob SquarePants, to be honest. I like there's so many funny scenes in this movie and stuff like that. It reminds me a lot of all that too. So if you like that kind of humor, basically, you're gonna love this movie. I thought a little tiny bit of the humor was a little bit cringeworthy, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe the first half hour or so is a little bit too slow paced for me, but overall I do like the movie a lot. I think it's better than Harriet the Spy. I can definitely follow the characters a lot more than Harriet the Spy, and yeah, that's why overall I think Good Burger is good, and it's getting a 7 out of 10. Now, later on, we'll be reviewing the sequel, which is going to be not as good as the original, but I'll post you the score when we get to it, which should be in part 4. But now we move on to the first Nickelodeon movie based off of a cartoon. The Rugrats movie. Now this is a movie I watched during my childhood, but I didn't see it too many times, maybe 3 or 4 times. This is by far the movie I'm the most familiar with so far, but you'll see most of the Spongebob movies and Jimmy Neutron and stuff like that I'm a lot more familiar with. And the movie is basically about Dee Dee having a new baby named Dill, and Tommy's father, Stu, is basically teaching him about responsibility of how to take care of his baby brother. But then the babies basically run away on a Reptar truck and stuff like that, and yeah, this movie's a lot of fun. It's not perfect. I feel like, again, some of the humor is a little tiny bit cringeworthy. I also feel like maybe you could have seen the parents a tiny bit more in this movie. I mean, Drew and Stu Pickles are probably my favorite Rugrats characters, period, so I would have liked... But the fight between them towards the end of the movie is my favorite part of the movie. Besides the emotional beats, which this film does excellently, you really feel your heart sinking when they sing to Dill in the movie, and then Tommy gets really sad and jealous and stuff like that. And then the scene where he's going to basically feed the monkeys Dill, but has a change of heart. Oh, that tugs at your heartstrings. But it's still not perfect. Like I said, there's some moments in the movie that are a little bit cringeworthy and stuff like that. But again, I do like this movie. Another 7 out of 10. I think there is another Rugrats movie that's a little bit better and one that's a little bit worse. So this is going to go in the middle of the two. Truly, one of, if not the most forgettable Nickelodeon movies out there. This is such a freaking slog to get through. I know there's some people who have a light heart with this movie and stuff like that, but not me. Honestly, I don't know. The only thing I really remember is that Josh Peck was in this movie, and that's cool and stuff like that. After seeing him from the Amanda Show for the first time, and obviously getting a very big role with Drake and Josh later on, but he was alright in this film. I can barely remember anything else about this movie. I got this movie on VHS at a thrift store when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen this film since. Sort of like Harriet the Spy, it's been a while since I've seen this. It's not inherently bad. I don't remember anything making me cringe or anything, but it's the worst film so far, in my opinion, and that's why it's getting a 5 out of 10. I don't really have too much this. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of films on here that I don't have much to say about, and this is one of them. As I said in my review of the Rugrats movie, there was going to be a Rugrats movie that was better than the original. That would be Rugrats in Paris, the movie. I think this is actually a very good movie, and it's pretty damn awesome, actually. My favorite part of this movie is the whole arc about Chucky and his mom and stuff like that. It's very emotional. And the song on the plane that plays is as emotional as the scenes with Tommy and Dill in the first movie, if not more, probably more. The scenes where they're in Paris are so wacky and fun. I remember there was like a scene with one of the sumo wrestlers and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. You have the Chucky Chan song, which I remember. But yeah, the finale with the Reptar robot is just so freaking epic, and it's basically Godzilla in Paris. So, honestly, this is the best movie on the list so far. 8 out of 10 for Rugrats in Paris. Next up, though, is one of the greats, in my opinion. I fucking love Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. This movie is incredible, in my opinion. Listen, this was in heavy competition for winning the Oscar for 2002's animated movie. And while I do like Shrek and Monsters Inc. a little bit more, this is still probably in my top 20 favorite animated movies of all time. I adore this film. This film is basically about Jimmy Neutron, a boy genius who's 10 years old. Basically, I think he's 10 at least. Basically, him and his friends wish for no more parents and stuff like that. And then, when Jimmy sends a toaster to talk to other aliens, they go and abduct all the adults. And, Jimmy and his friends think, oh, this is a dream come true. We're gonna party and dance and eat all the candy we want. Until ultimately they realize they missed their parents, and they're gonna go on a grand epic adventure in space with all these amusement park rides to go and defeat the aliens, basically. I love all the characters in this movie. What can I say? There's Jimmy, Carl, Sheen, Cindy, Libby, Hugh Neutron. This is probably one of my favorite cartoons ever. This is his beginning. And, yeah, my God, I love this movie. I don't have many problems with it. I think every one of the humorous moments works. I recently rewatched this movie probably about 6 months ago, and I like it just as much as I did when I was a kid. Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius is going to be one of my favorites on the list by far. It's getting a 10 out of 10. What can I say? I think this movie is an absolute freaking classic. Well, going from one of the best movies on the list to going to the worst movie of part 1. Yeah, I don't like Clockstoppers very much. I remember renting the DVD from Blockbuster back when that was open, and I just found the movie extremely boring. You know, it wasn't inherently bad, but it felt a little too much just like a teen movie, I guess you could say, and stuff like that. And that's not what I'm looking for in a Nickelodeon movie. It's really not. I don't know. Maybe this was for... You grew up as a teenager in like 2002 and stuff like that. You would enjoy this movie a little bit more, but... I wasn't even 1 year old when this movie came out, so I didn't grow up with this. I got it, well, kind of. I rented the DVD from Blockbuster, like I said, and I didn't like it. I didn't really have any want to rewatch it either. I looked at the trailer, like literally probably a week before doing this video, and I remembered why I didn't like this movie, so I was like, I'd rather not witness that. 4 out of 10. It's not like anything super terrible, it's just extremely boring. Alright, 4 more to go for part 1. We have Hey Arnold the movie up next. I really like the Hey Arnold series as a whole. I think it's such a powerful show, basically. Very real. It tugs at your heartstrings a lot, especially the Pigeon Man episode. But how about the movie? What do I think of the movie? Honestly, I don't quite like it as much as the show itself, but it was pretty good. Um, it is honestly the movie's basically about this new mall coming in and shutting down the neighborhood and stuff like that. And Arnold and his friends are trying to save the neighborhood, and there was like a spy scene in this movie that was pretty cool, but um I don't know, I don't feel like it was quite as funny as the show. It didn't quite have the emotions as a lot of the episodes in the show. So while I liked it, I think it's definitely one of the better movies on part one. It's still not quite the best. And I'm going to give it the same rating as Good Burger and the Rugrats movie with a 7 out of 10. Would I rewatch this movie again? Probably. But upon my most recent rewatch about a year ago, I'd rather just watch an episode of the show. My freaking man, Nigel Thornberry, is in this movie. Enough said. But in all seriousness, the Wild Thornberrys movie is really good. So basically the plot of this movie is about one of Elijah's cheetah friends, Tally, being stolen by a poacher, and I just love how serious this movie gets. It's very dark compared to pretty much every Nickelodeon movie before this. This is by far the darkest movies. Like, the villain seemed like he was legitimately going to kidnap and kill Elijah. This movie's dark, and I love that. I love that this movie is not afraid to pull punches and stuff like that. And just the land of Africa and how it's animated in this film is incredible. I love it. And the scenes with Donnie, honestly, I'm not a giant fan of. I think it's part of the reason why it's got a little bit of cringy humor that pulls me away from it a little bit. But this is by far one of the best films on part one of the list. And it's getting an 8 out of 10. Nigel is better in the next movie, but by far the movie itself is not. The last of the Rugrats movies, Rugrats Go Wild, is up next. And it's by far my least favorite of the 3 Rugrats movies. If it wasn't for Nigel Thornberry, I would consider this tied with Clockstoppers as the worst on the list so far. But Nigel honestly saves this movie. I love Nigel Thornberry in general. I think he's one of the funniest Nickelodeon characters of all time. So whenever you see him on screen, it's just a blast. Other than that, I consider this significantly worse than the last 2 Rugrats movies, and by far worse than the Wild Thornberrys movie. I think it has to do with the baby humor that was in the previous 2 movies being made up to 11 and stuff like that. I didn't really like Spike by Bruce Willis that much. He had a few funny lines. Honestly, when the babies do go on the quest with Nigel Thornberry, I do like those scenes, and it's my favorite part of the movie, but honestly, as a whole, I'm gonna be honest, Nigel saves this movie. It's getting a 6 out of 10 because of him, but it would be a 4 out of 10 if not. And, wow, we're already on the final movie for part 1, and, well, You all know who it is, the biggest Nicktoon of them all. Oh, my precious baby, there you are. Oh my god, do I love the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. This is legitimately one of my favorite movies of all time. I know a lot of people would laugh at that and stuff like that, but this movie just means so much to me, and it's got such a good story. Basically, it's a coming of age story for SpongeBob, as Mr. Krabs decides to make Squidward the manager of the Krusty Krab 2 rather than him. And at first he gets really upset, but after Mr. Krabs gets frozen by Neptune, SpongeBob and Patrick go on an epic quest to get the crown back in 6 days, or else Mr. Krabs fries. The day that Krabs fries. I love this movie so much. I can quote pretty much every quote in this. This and Toy Story are probably the two movies I might be able to quote the entire movie from beginning to end. Oh my god. If it's not clear already, this is my favorite movie of the retrospective so far. And it is my favorite movie of part 1. Everything works here. The pirates watching the movie is hilarious. All the scenes with SpongeBob and Patrick on their big epic quest to go to Shell City is just phenomenal. Oh my god. There's so many good jokes from A to Y and Plankton not knowing the letter Z. We're on a baby hunt and we don't know how to weed them out. Oh, David Hasselhoff. David Hasselhoff might be the funny highlight of the entire movie. But there's even a very emotional moment where Patrick and SpongeBob are about to fry up, and honestly, it made me tear up when I was a kid. And it still makes my heart sink, honestly. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, what else can I say? It's a 10 out of 10, and it's the best Nickelodeon movie I've reviewed so far. So, even though I am not doing a ranking, I have decided that technically I am, because at the end of each video, I'm going to do a ranking of every movie so far. And I'm going to give a basic overview on what I think of every one of them. So, stay tuned for that. SpongeBob SquarePants movie, I love ya. Alright, before I go for part 1, here is my ranking of the 11 movies I've reviewed so far. Number 11 is Clock Stoppers. Just, to me, feels like a boring teen show that would be on Teen Nick. Number 10 is Snow Day. Even though Clock Stoppers I think is a little worse, I do remember that movie a little more than Snow Day. Snow Day is just very forgettable. Number 9 is Rugrats Go Wild. Honestly, I think a lot of the humor in this movie is cringeworthy with the babies and stuff like that, but Nigel Thornberry is the absolute hero of this movie and saves the day. 8 is Harriet the Spy. I say rest in peace to the main actress of this movie, but it is a little bit forgettable, but I do remember having a better time with this than, say, Snow Day. Number 7 is the Rugrats movie. I do have childhood memories with this movie and stuff like that, but I do think some of that humor that was rampant in Rugrats Go Wild is a little bit present here. Number 5 is Good Burger. Keenan and Kel are just hilarious through and through. Number 4 is Rugrats in Paris, the movie. I like this film a lot more than the other two because of the Chucky and his mother moments and him getting a new mom and stuff like that. And I love the whole Paris atmosphere, and it's more genuinely funny than the other two in my opinion. And Yeah, that's why it goes in at number 4 on the list. Number 3 is the Wild Thornberrys movie. I love the atmosphere of this movie. I love how dark this movie gets, and while Donnie makes me feel a little bit cringeworthy at times, he's not in the movie a ton, so overall, this is my number 3 on the list so far. Number 2 is Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. This movie is just freaking epic. I love the scenes, especially when they go to space. I think this is the most epic movie on the list so far. It's also got a lot of good humor, and I just attach myself to the characters so much. But my number 1 is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. What can I say? I'm a huge SpongeBob fan, especially of the pre-movie era. I think this is basically a grand goodbye to the pre-movie era, and I love this movie to death. So, I hope you enjoyed my long-awaited wait for me talking about the Nickelodeon movies. Next month in May, we're going to be doing Lemony Snickens through The Last Airbender. I'm a little afraid because outside of a few movies, I think that slate of films is definitely worse than the first one here. And yeah. So stay tuned next time, guys. I'll see you in May. Gaming Do here. See you later. Bye. Sorry, quick note while editing. I completely forgot to rank Hey Arnold the movie. Comes in at number 6. Like I said, it's not quite as good as the show itself, but it's a nice little adventure about Arnold and his friends saving the town. Alright. That's it, guys. See you in part 2.